Hello, it's me again. I want to answer a few more questions. And if you have questions you would like me to answer, just advice about anything except how to fix the engine of a particular car, anything mechanical, I don't know. But life experiences with relationships, children, travel, um, religious, interreligious, spiritual. My one of my favorite topics is extraterrestrials and all kinds of topics related to that and the future of this world, whether there could be a what they call a Star Trek future where there is intergalactic relationships, everything working very nicely and diplomatically, etc. A lot of people want that kind of future. The outside civilizations, according to what I understand, they want that kind of future with us. The Earth is actually a very special place, and so it wants to be preserved. They want to preserve us. They want to help preserve the Earth. We want to help preserve the Earth. So, um, talking with those kind of topics, I always find very fascinating. But I was asked to introduce myself a little bit. So I grew up on Long Island, and when I was about 25, I think it was, I moved to San Francisco. So I was on the West Coast for a while, and then I went back to New York, then I went back to Seattle. From Seattle, I went to Germany. I lived there for 20 years, traveled to different countries, got, I was married, had children, came back to America 2008, went to Hawaii for a job, eventually came back to, of all places, Roswell, New Mexico. I, I was interested in the whole Roswell incident and what it was like over there. And so I'll just say quickly that the people who lived in Roswell as original citizens have been there, born and raised. They would swear up and down that there were a lot of um, extraterrestrials among them. And I had one experience where I said out loud to nobody in particular, I said, if there really are extraterrestrials here, I'm going to sit on this corner. Because at the time I didn't have a car, so I was walking. And I'm going to sit on this corner. It was an intersection. If you know anything about the main town of Roswell, it's one long, long, long road. It goes on forever. And so I just sat down on one of the intersections where there was a store or something, and I said, if there are aliens, and I want to hear a car honking 3 times. Now, you would think that was not a challenge, considering that I was sitting on the side of a main road where there was a lot of traffic going back and forth. But the most weird thing about Roswell, New Mexico, when I was there, is there was no honking. Nobody ever honked. So that's why I chose to honking. So 3 minutes passed, and exactly at 3 minutes and I don't know, 5 seconds, there were three honks from a car. It came from the side of the road. They laughed, they looked at me, they laughed, and they went on. So there you go. Can make your own questions from that experience. But in any case, so I was in Roswell, then I was in Arizona for some years, went to college, studied chemical abuse counseling because I wanted to work with the Native Americans. And that's another whole long story. But along with that, I studied social problems and social work and things like that. And then from there, I went to Arizona. So from Roswell, New Mexico to Seattle, Washington area, then to Arizona for another 8 years or so. And now I am in upstate New York, where it's too cold in the winter. Arizona became too hot. I know I'm living where it's too cold, but I came to work with somebody who's losing his sight. He's been a friend for many years, so that's basically why I came. So I decided to do this series because I've been hesitating for the longest time because I don't look right. Like I said last time, there's so many things where you can look and say, well, why is this person doing this? But I feel like it's something I can do. So it's kind of exciting for me because I can do it. And not only because I can just, not so much just speaking, but I was also a teacher. I've always been a teacher, but I was teaching, literally teaching in Germany. And so I think I'm good at that, and I'm good at speaking, and I was won several Toastmaster competitions. So at least I can speak, and I have a lot of life experiences in so many directions. I was also a missionary for many, many years, working interfaith, but before interfaith, working just witnessing, trying to bring people to Jesus and things like that. I went through the whole gamut of ultra fundamental to interfaith work to uh, metaphysical, combining spirituality and religious concepts. I also have the gift of speaking, no, interpreting tongues, but I also do channeling and healing. So it's a whole gamut. So I thought, okay, this is something I can do. And well, if I wait forever to look right again, like I used to, it's never going to happen. And I said, what the heck? It doesn't matter. Do you remember Susan Boyle, the English singer who got up and everybody laughed at her because she was looked so dorky and so, you know, but her voice just would melted everybody within seconds. And well, she was a misunderstood person. But the point is, if I wait, I'm not saying I'm going to start singing like Susan Boyle. If I wait, it's just never going to happen. I could have done this long ago when I was looking a little bit more spiffy, or a little bit more whatever, attractive, but it doesn't matter. So I'm going to answer two questions that I received. So one is this, the first one. Dear Sage, my best friend always cancels plans at the last minute, and it's starting to hurt my feelings. I don't want to lose the friendship, but I also don't want to keep feeling like an afterthought. What should I do? I'm curious what you guys have done if you've been in that situation. Did you talk gently to them and keep it in the eye? You know, when you're talking to somebody, you don't say you did, but I feel bad when you cancel all the time. Well, that's one suggestion is to, because there's so many things that could be happening. They could have ran into financial difficulties and they're embarrassed to say anything, but they don't want to put the burden on you to treat them. If your friendship has been you go out and each pays for themselves, or sometimes you pay, sometimes they, but maybe they ran out of money and don't want to say it. Um, but when you first ask, they don't know how to say that, so they say yes, and then they go, "Oh my God, I better say no." Or they met somebody, they have a new relationship, and they would rather do that, which I think many of us can understand. But again, they don't. They also don't want to lose the relationship, so uh, they say yes, and then I don't know how many times they think they can cancel and get away with it without affecting the relationship, the friendship. But I think it's just time to sit down and uh, um, keep it in the eye area, and just say tense, the eye tense, and say, "I'm feeling bad. Is there something going on? Why you keep canceling? And what should we do? Should we change the way we see each other to maybe once a month, or you just want to come over, watch a movie? We don't have to go out. I mean, what would you suggest? What do you want from the relationship? And what would you suggest we do?" So you can kind of leave it in their court. And if you sense they're not forthcoming about what's going on, then I don't know. It would just naturally separate anyway. I don't think you have to say, "Oh, now it's over," or "We're not going to see you anymore." It will go from canceling frequently in the last minute to just having almost no contact if you have, a kind conversation and they're not forthcoming. But they might be forthcoming and say, yeah, sorry, this is going on, that's going on. I don't want to tell you, yada, yada. Yeah, for now, let's do once a month, whatever. You can find a compromise. So that would be my answer to that. The next question is, Dear Sage, my mother-in-law gives me unsolicited advice about how to raise my kids, and it drives me crazy. I want to set boundaries without hurting her feelings. Do you have any suggestions? Well, yeah. Um, I'm a mom and I have a few grandchildren. Don't think I ever say anything, give advice. I have to be very careful because my kids are very sensitive about that, about the feeling like they don't know what they're doing, and so I have to give them advice. Um, I'm not a very hands-on grandmother anyway, so that's never been a big issue for me. But again, there's going to have to be another conversation about this with your mother-in-law. So if you can say it sort of in a joking way, like, could we do don't give advice unless asked for advice kind of a thing? And, or could you keep your advice for another day or another time, or maybe we can have a family meeting once a week or once every half week, and you can make some suggestions because, of course, you had your way of raising the kids, and I appreciate that, but I'm feeling like nervous now a little bit. So, I mean, as gentle as you can. Again, keeping it in the I chance, like I feel a bit nervous or I feel a little bit criticized. I know you don't mean it that way, etc. But you can also start, like I said, by joking and saying, "Can we just do the uh, if you're not asked, no advice kind of a thing?" But you can say you appreciate your experience and I'll think about it. Um, but you can, like I say, in many classrooms they do the um, questions at the end of the class. So you can also say to your mother-in-law, can we save this for the end of the day or, in a few days, something like that. I mentioned that, right, but just reiterating that. Um, but boundaries do have to be set. And you can also say that you and your partner, or just you if you're a single parent, you've already made a decision to do things a certain way, but you appreciate that they care about what's going on and that you want to help. But yeah, you can start like that. If these mm, first gentle and then not so gentle hints don't work, then at some point you have to be more clear and say, I've tried to explain to you that it makes me nervous and I feel criticized and it kind of interferes with the flow of what I'm trying to interact with my kids in a certain way. Uh, yeah. How about you go home and I'll give you, your day or a few days to be with the grandchildren and, we just don't mix that much together if we can't find respectful boundaries, something like that. What do you think about my advice for both situations? Would you have something different to say? Would you like to add to it? That would be awesome. Because I'm sure whoever gave me the questions will read them, your added comments. All right. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day, and I will do this again very soon. Again, add any questions you have also in the comments. Thank you. Bye.